Captain Learvala stood at the edge of the hangar deck, her sharp silver eyes scanning the busy platform. Ships came and went like quiet birds under the soft hum of Valeri control drones. Her long, elegant armor shimmered with a pale blue light, marked with the symbols of her noble house. She didn't like humans. That much was certain. Her people, the Valeri, had spent centuries avoiding contact with Earth's kind. Humans were known to be loud, chaotic, and unpredictable. Learvala believed they were dangerous not because they were strong, but because they acted without logic. They followed their hearts, not their minds. And that made them foolish. So when her command told her she would be working with a human officer on a joint mission, her first reaction was simple. No, she had said. But the council did not take no for an answer. And now here she was, waiting for her new partner. Captain Learvala, a voice called. She turned, keeping her face calm. A man walked toward her, tall with short dark hair, light stubble on his chin, and a confident smile that made her stomach twist for reasons she didn't like. I'm Commander Ethan Gray. Looks like we're flying together. She nodded once. I was told. You are late, he grinned. Only by a minute, but who's counting? She didn't answer. He didn't seem bothered. They boarded the transport ship, a sleek, joint-built cruiser designed for diplomacy and exploration. The Valeri called it the Silent Path. The humans had nicknamed it Silver Runner. Learvala preferred her name. Humans always liked to make things sound exciting. As they prepared for departure, Ethan tried to make conversation. So, he said, strapping in, you ever worked with a human before? No. Ah, so I'm your first. She looked at him. Do not make this personal. It is simply a mission. Got it, he said, raising his hands in surrender. No offense meant. They left orbit quietly, the stars opening up before them like a curtain. Their mission was simple: escort a diplomatic package to a neutral zone near the edge of HFY space. A peaceful assignment, no combat, no risks, but peace rarely lasted in this part of the galaxy. Just as they entered the neutral zone, the alarms sounded. An unidentified ship was approaching, fast. Ethan leaned forward. Pirates? Learvala checked the scanners. Unmarked. Speed suggests raiders. Weapons hot? They are charging. Ethan didn't wait. Divert course. Prepare for emergency jump. But the raider ship fired before they could escape. The blast shook their vessel, systems flickering. Sparks flew from the console. Learvala gritted her teeth as the ship spun out of control. Jump drive offline, she shouted. Ethan grabbed the manual controls. I'll try to land us on the nearest moon. The ship tumbled toward a barren rock below. The surface was gray and dusty, but at least it had breathable air. The landing wasn't smooth. They crashed hard, metal screeching, the ship skidding, along the rocky ground. Then everything went still. Learvala opened her eyes. Her head ached. Smoke filled the air, but she was alive. Ethan? She called. I'm here, he groaned from the other side. Not dead yet. She stood, helping him out of the wreckage. The ship was damaged beyond repair. No long-range, comms, no jump drive. They were stranded. Learvala looked around. The sky was pale with two small moons hanging above. The land stretched in every direction, empty, quiet, lifeless. This was not supposed to happen, she said softly. Ethan sat down on a rock. Well, we've got food, air, and each other. She frowned. I do not need each other. I only need a plan, he chuckled. Fair enough, but teamwork wouldn't hurt. She looked at him again. There was something in his smile. Calm. Sure. Even now in the middle of nowhere. He was strange. Too relaxed. Too human. But deep down, a small part of her wondered if maybe that wasn't such a bad thing. Ethan woke up early. The sun on the small moon had just risen, casting a soft, orange glow across the rocky land. Dust hung in the air, and the broken ship still smoked slightly from yesterday's crash. He stretched, rubbing his shoulder. It still hurt, but he was lucky to be alive. Learvala was already awake. She stood on a small hill nearby, watching the horizon. Her silver armor reflected the light, and her long braids swayed gently in the wind. She looked like a statue, calm, serious, and cold. Ethan climbed the hill to join her. "Any change out there?" he asked. "No," she replied without looking at him. "No ships, no signals, nothing." He sighed. "Figures." They had tried everything last night, short-range comms, emergency beacons, even a flare, but there was no response. Either no one was listening, or they were too far from any help. "We'll have to move," Learvala said. "Move? Where?" "There is a mountain range 3 kilometers north. The higher ground may help us find a signal or shelter." Ethan nodded slowly. "All right, let's pack up." They gathered what supplies they could from the wreck: water, food packs, emergency tools. Learvala carried a scanner and her sidearm. Ethan took the medkit and a small energy blade. As they walked across the dry, cracked ground, the silence became heavy. Ethan tried to lighten the mood. "So, what do you usually do for fun? Back on your homeworld?" "I do not understand the question," she said. "You know, hobbies, music, games." She looked at him like he had asked if she could fly. "Valerie commanders do not play games. We train, study, and lead. No movies, no sports." She paused. "I read battle history." Ethan chuckled. "Of course you do." They walked in silence for a while. Then he asked, "Why do your people hate humans so much?" She didn't answer at first. The wind blew gently around them. "It is not hate," she finally said. "It is caution. Your species is young, emotional, unpredictable. And yet here we are, saving the galaxy side by side." She glanced at him. "This was not my choice." Ethan shrugged. "Still, maybe the universe wants us to work together." She didn't reply. By midday, they reached the edge of the mountain. The rocks were steep, sharp, and difficult to climb. Learvala went ahead, moving with grace and skill. Ethan followed, slower but steady. Halfway up, a loose rock gave way beneath Ethan's foot. He slipped, falling hard against the stone. "Ah," Learvala turned fast and grabbed his arm. Her strength surprised him. She pulled him up with one quick move. "Careful," she said. He smiled, breathing hard. "Thanks." That was almost the end of Commander Gray. "You are not allowed to die yet," she said almost softly. He looked at her. "Was that a joke?" "No," she said firmly. "We need your help to survive." "Right. Strictly business," he said with a smirk. They reached the top a few minutes later. From there the view was wide and clear. They could see the ruins of an old structure not far below, a large, broken building half covered in sand and rock. "What's that?" Ethan asked. Learvala scanned it. Unknown. Ancient architecture. No life signs. It may have shelter. They made their way down carefully and entered the ruins. Inside, the air was cooler. The walls were made of strange metal, glowing faintly, with blue light. Symbols neither of them recognized covered the walls. Ethan ran his hand over one. "This place feels old, like it's been waiting." Learvala touched a panel. It lit up. A soft hum began, and a console activated. "Energy. Source still working," she said. They explored deeper into the ruins. In one chamber, they found what looked like a control room. Learvala began pressing buttons carefully, and a hologram appeared, an old map of star systems, some no longer on any current charts. "This technology is far beyond ours," she whispered. Suddenly, the console beeped. A signal began to broadcast from the tower above them, a long-range distress beacon. "It's working," Ethan said. But then the console flashed red. A warning symbol appeared. "What does it say?" Ethan asked. Learvala frowned. "We've triggered a defense system." "Defense?" A loud sound echoed through the ruins. The ground trembled. Ethan looked at her. "Tell me you brought that sidearm." She nodded. "Stay close." As doors opened deeper in the ruins, lights flickered on. Something had awakened. Something old and not happy to see them. They stood together, weapons ready, as the silence broke once again. The floor shook again. Dust rained from the ceiling. Somewhere deep in the ruins, gears turned and ancient machines roared back to life. Ethan held his small energy blade tightly. "Remind me again. Why did we touch the glowing buttons?" Learvala didn't respond right away. She was reading the red symbols flashing on the console. "This structure was a vault," she said. "Long ago it was used to store knowledge and weapons." "Weapons? Great." She turned to him. "The warning says intruders must be tested." "Tested?" Ethan blinked. "You mean, like, a quiz?" "No. A trial." Before he could respond, a panel behind them slid open with a hiss. From the hallway, a long, spider-like drone crawled out. Its body was sleek and silver, with glowing eyes and sharp legs. It made no sound. Just moved slowly like it was studying them. Ethan took a step back. "I don't like tests." "Then do not fail," Learvala said, lifting her sidearm. The drone leaped forward, fast. Learvala fired. Her blue energy bolts hit its side, knocking it into the wall. Sparks flew. Ethan stepped in, slashing with his blade. The drone twitched, then dropped. Another hiss. "Two more came out from the side tunnels. We need to move," Ethan shouted. "This way." Learvala led them down a corridor, her scanner blinking rapidly. "The signal beacon is above. If we reach the tower, we can lock the controls." They ran through the ancient halls, the lights flickering around them. More drones appeared, crawling from the walls like insects. Some flew, others rolled. All had one goal: stop the intruders. Learvala used her speed and training to fight while moving. She never wasted a shot. Ethan used his instincts, ducking behind cover and striking when he could. Together they made it through. Finally, they reached a spiral staircase that led to a tall chamber with windows looking out over the moon. In the center was a control pillar with lights blinking. "We're here," she said. "Cover me." Ethan stood near the door, watching the hallway. "Take your time. We've only got a small army chasing us." Learvala placed her hands on the pillar. It glowed brighter. She spoke in Valari, activating commands. The machines paused. A soft pulse of energy spread across the room. Then silence. "Did you stop them?" Ethan asked. "No," she said, stepping back. "I passed the test. The vault accepts us." The drones powered down and returned to their walls. Ethan let out a long breath. "Good news at last." Learvala touched her wrist scanner. "The signal is strong now. It will reach deep space." Ethan sat down beside her. "Let's hope someone hears it." There was a pause. The room was calm again. Through the window, the stars shined like tiny lanterns. "You fought well," she said quietly. "So did you," he replied. "But you already knew that." She looked at him. "Do you always make light of danger?" "It helps me stay calm," he said. "Besides, if I panic, what good does that do?" She nodded slowly. "Strange, but not foolish," he smiled. "Is that a compliment?" "Perhaps," she said, almost smiling herself. For a while they sat in silence. The signal continued to broadcast. The old tower hummed with quiet energy. It was peaceful, almost too peaceful. Then Learvala checked her scanner again. Her eyes narrowed. "What is it?" Ethan asked. "A new signal. Faint. Far away. But not from our allies. Pirates? No. Something else. A fleet. Very large. Coming this way." Ethan stood. "Maybe they picked up our signal." She shook her head. "These ships are not human, and not Valari. Their energy signature is wrong. It matches none of our records." He looked at the console. "Is it possible this vault attracted them?" She nodded. "Yes. The ancient tech we activated, it may have sent out more than just a distress call. It could have awakened something." "Well, that's just great," he muttered. She turned serious. "If they are hostile and they find this place, they could use it. The old weapons stored here, they may be dangerous. So we need to warn both our governments. Yes, she said, even if they don't believe us. Ethan looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, a mysterious fleet was moving, and we need to survive until they arrive. She looked at him. Then we fight. He nodded. Together. For the first time, she didn't correct him. She didn't say, "This is not personal." She simply accepted it, because in that moment something had changed. They were no longer just two strangers from different worlds. They were a team. 3 days had passed. Ethan and Learvala stayed, inside the ancient vault. They had fixed the power, secured the entrance, and checked the rooms for more drones. The place was quiet now, like it was holding its breath. But the signal from space grew stronger each day. "They are getting closer," Learvala said, staring at her wrist scanner. Ethan leaned against a pillar. "Still no name for them?" "No," she replied. "They are not in any known database. Their ships are dark. No replies, no transmissions. Just silence." Creepy. She didn't argue. They had spent their time scanning the vault systems. Learvala worked through old language patterns to translate some of the data. The vault was ancient, built by a civilization long gone. It had protected knowledge, yes, but also strange, advanced machines that even she didn't fully understand. Why would someone build all this and then leave it behind? Ethan asked. Perhaps they didn't leave by choice. That idea sent a chill down Ethan's spine. That evening, they climbed back to the tower to check the signal range. The sky was dark, filled with stars. But now, between those stars, something else floated, small black dots barely visible. Ethan adjusted his visor. "They're here." Learvala narrowed her eyes. "No known insignia. Ships are shaped like blades, no energy trails. Can you tell if they're scanning us?" "No, but they know we're here." Suddenly, the console beeped. A message appeared, not in any language they knew. Lines, circles, patterns. "What is that?" Ethan asked. Learvala studied it. "A signal, a test. They are trying to communicate." "Should we answer?" "Not yet." She sent a silent code back, just a harmless echo, a mirror signal. The response came fast. Another symbol appeared, and this time a sharp tone rang through the vault. The machines inside the ruins began to hum. "Learvala," she moved to the console. "They've triggered the core systems again." The walls lit up with ancient patterns. Lights ran through the floors like rivers of energy. Machines that hadn't moved in centuries came online. In the center chamber, a glowing orb floated from the ceiling. It spun slowly, showing star maps. Ethan stared. "That's not from Earth or HFY Space." Learvala stepped forward. "These are forgotten sectors, empty space, no recorded colonies. But those visitors are coming from that direction," Ethan said. She nodded. "Yes." They both realized something at the same time. These strangers, whoever they were, came from the lost parts of space. And they knew about the vault. The orb pulsed. Then a voice filled the room. Not words, but pure sound, like a song made of wind and thunder. Learvala stepped closer. "It's trying to remember. I think the vault is alive in some way, or part of a greater system. Can it talk to us?" "Maybe." Ethan reached into his pack and pulled out a small device. It translated over 100 languages. He connected it to the orb. The orb flickered. Then, for the first time, words came. "Test complete. Guardians may proceed." Learvala and Ethan looked at each other. "What does it mean?" Ethan asked. "I think," she said slowly, "it believes we are chosen to protect this place." Before they could speak again, an alert rang out from the outer scanners. A single alien ship had landed just beyond the mountain. "No more waiting," Ethan said. "They're coming." They hurried to the edge of the vault and scanned the area. The ship was sleek and black, shaped like a spear. No lights, no movement. Then a figure appeared outside. It stood tall, taller than both of them. Its body was covered in armor, smooth and dark like liquid metal. Its face was hidden under a mask with glowing blue eyes. It walked forward, slowly, hands empty. Ethan raised his blade. Friend or enemy? Learvala didn't answer. She watched closely. The figure stopped at the vault's entrance. Then it lifted one hand and drew a symbol in the air, the same symbol from the message earlier. The orb inside the vault responded. The lights turned gold. Then another message appeared. One has returned. One remembers. Learvala whispered. This one may have been here before, long ago. Then why come now? Ethan asked. The alien finally spoke. Guardians of the vault, it said, voice soft but deep. You have awakened what was meant to sleep. Learvala stepped forward. Who are you? The alien did not answer directly. You carry the future. You must decide, keep it hidden or share it with your kind. Ethan frowned. What future? The figure pointed toward the orb. Inside this vault is the key to balance or chaos. We left it hidden, because not all were ready. Then the figure began to fade, like a projection. You must choose soon. Others are coming. Not all are. Peaceful. And then it was gone. Ethan stood in silence. So, we're guardians now? Learvala looked at the glowing orb. Not by choice, but maybe by purpose. Far above, more dark ships appeared in orbit. The clock was ticking. The orb hovered silently in the middle of the chamber, glowing softly. Golden light pulsed from it like a heartbeat. The message from the strange visitor still echoed in Ethan's mind. You must choose soon. Others are coming. Not all are peaceful. Learvala stood with her arms crossed, eyes fixed on the star, maps the orb displayed. They were still glowing, showing new paths now, routes to planets long forgotten or erased from modern records. This vault wasn't just a shelter, she said. It was a warning. Ethan rubbed his face. A warning. We activated. They both stared at the stars. A soft beep came from Learvala's wrist scanner. She checked it quickly. The ships in orbit are moving. Slowly, they are surrounding the moon. Looks like they're waiting for something, Ethan said, or someone. There was silence for a moment. Then Learvala spoke again. The vault said we carry the future. Ethan raised an eyebrow. Do you think it meant the knowledge inside this place? She glanced at him. No, I think it meant us. You. Me. He chuckled nervously. Well, that's a big responsibility. She didn't smile. We must decide. If we let the vault open its full systems, it may send out a message across the galaxy, a call to all species. That could bring allies or enemies. Ethan sat on a nearby step. What happens if we don't send the message? Then the knowledge stays buried, and only these silent visitors will know we're here. He thought about it. And if we do send it, then the universe changes. They were quiet again. The weight of the decision filled the air. Later that day, they explored a deeper level of the vault, one they hadn't reached before. The orb had unlocked a hidden door after the alien's message. Inside, they found more than machines. They found memories. The walls displayed holograms of an ancient race, tall, silver-skinned beings with long robes and glowing eyes. They were peaceful, wise, and worked with many species. One scene showed them meeting with humans thousands of years ago. Ethan was shocked. That's Earth. But we never knew about this. They visited your kind before, Learvala said. Before records. Before even the first cities. Another scene showed the same beings meeting Valeri ancestors. They gave them knowledge, showed them how to build, how to lead. Ethan looked at her. So your people were helped too. She nodded slowly. We all were. But then the scenes turned dark. Another race came. They wore armor like the one who visited them earlier, but their faces were cruel. They wanted to take the knowledge by force. War broke out. The vaults were sealed. The ancient race vanished. The final message of the recordings was clear. The vault must only open to those who come together, not in war, but in unity. Ethan looked at Learvala. That's why it chose us. Not because we're perfect, but because we're from two different worlds working together. She met his eyes. Yes, that is the test. Suddenly the floor shook again. They ran back to the surface. Above the mountain, one of the dark ships had descended. It hovered silently, casting a long shadow across the rocks. Then a new voice came over the vault's communication system. It was deep, sharp, and cold. Surrender. The vault. You do not understand what you hold. Learvala stepped forward and spoke into the console. We are the guardians now. If you want the vault, come and prove yourself. The voice answered, You are unworthy. Ethan looked at her. That didn't sound like a friendly conversation. No, she said. They will try to take it. Ethan moved toward the orb. Then we need to send the message. Learvala hesitated. Are you sure? It will bring many eyes here. He nodded. Yes, but not all will be enemies. And right now, we need help. She stepped beside him. Then, we send it. Together. They placed their hands on the orb. It glowed brightly. White light filled the entire chamber. A new signal burst from the vault. It echoed through space, across systems, past stars and moons. A call for peace. A call for unity. A call for guardians. Far above, the dark ships turned slowly, no longer alone in orbit. New ships began to appear, some human, some Volari, some from races neither of them had seen before. The message had reached the galaxy, and the galaxy had answered. Ships from across the stars began to arrive. One by one they appeared in orbit around the quiet moon. Some were sleek and silver, others large and powerful, glowing with bright energy. Flags of different civilizations showed on their sides, some known, others new. Inside the ancient vault, Ethan and Learvala watched the signals on their scanner light up like stars in a night sky. They came, Ethan whispered. They really came. Learvala nodded, her voice calm but alert. But not all of them come as friends. Look, she pointed to the display. The dark ships, the ones from the unknown fleet, had not moved. They now floated between the new arrivals, as if waiting. Suddenly, a message appeared on the screen. It came from a human ship, the Horizon Star, captained by Commander Risa Ward, a well-respected officer from Earth's Peace Corps. Ethan read the message aloud. We received your signal. We are prepared to assist. Please confirm your identity and explain the situation. Learvala opened a communication link and answered. This is Learvala of the Volari Defense. With me is Ethan Cole of Earth. We discovered an ancient vault. It holds technology and knowledge from a forgotten race, but others seek to control it. Another message came, this time from a Volari command cruiser. The voice was strong and formal. We confirm Guardian Learvala's report, awaiting orders, standing by. Ethan looked at her surprised. They're calling you a guardian now? Learvala didn't respond immediately. The title means something now. It is no longer just about control. It's about protecting balance. More messages followed. Short greetings, peaceful welcomes, and curious requests for more information. Most of the new ships came in peace. But the Dark Fleet stayed silent. Then, the vault sent out another pulse. The orb in the central chamber changed color, from white to green. New holograms appeared. This time they showed instructions. The vault is offering access, Learvala said. It's unlocking its deepest layers, but it wants more guardians present. Ethan frowned. You mean other species too? Yes, she said. It wants witnesses. Unity. Ethan walked around the glowing orb. This place really wants to bring the galaxy together. But those dark ships, they're not here for peace. She agreed. If they see us open the vault, they may attack. Outside, the tension in orbit grew. Ships formed small groups. Communication between them increased. The dark fleet moved slightly, closer to the moon's surface. Then one of them sent a signal. This time it wasn't a warning. It was a countdown. Learvala stared at it. They're preparing to strike. Ethan stood beside her. Then we need to finish what we started, before they try to take it by force. Learvala tapped the console and sent a final message to all ships in orbit. To all peaceful forces above, the vault is ready to open. If you are willing to witness history together, send one representative. Guardians must stand united. For a moment's silence. Then, slowly, responses came in. The Terran fleet agrees. Valeri Command agrees. The Vuron Collective sends one. The Thalaxi people join as well. Representatives from different species prepared to land. Each one would come alone, unarmed, in peace. Within the hour, 5 shuttlecrafts landed near the vault's entrance. Learvala and Ethan waited at the gate, side by side. The vault's doors, sensing unity, opened wider. The first to arrive was Commander Risa Ward, tall and calm, with sharp eyes. She nodded to Ethan. Didn't expect you to be in the middle of a galactic event? He smiled. Neither did I. Next came a Valeri scholar, then a Vuron with shimmering skin, then a Thalaxi, tall and thin, with a gentle voice. They stood, together in the ancient hall, surrounding the orb. It pulsed once more. Guardians present. Vault opening. The floor below them shifted. A wide staircase appeared, leading down into a new chamber, one that had never been opened in thousands of years. Learvala stepped forward. This is it. But before they could descend, an alert flashed red on the console. One of the dark ships had launched a stealth probe. They're coming, Ethan said. Risa raised her voice. We need to act now. Learvala looked at the gathered group. This is your choice, too. If we continue, we may all become targets. The Thalaxi representative spoke gently. Then let them come. Let them see unity. The group descended together. Below they found a vast chamber filled with lights, crystals, and a giant glowing sphere. It showed every planet, every star system, and every past war. In the center was a control seat. But it was not meant for one. It had room for many hands, many species. A council seat, Learvala said. Ethan stared. Not a weapon, a meeting, place. Suddenly the sphere lit up and spoke. Welcome, Guardians, the galaxy watches now. Show them something better. Outside, as the dark fleet prepared their weapons, the skies lit up with new arrivals. More ships, more voices. Hope. The storm was coming, but so was unity. The great chamber beneath the vault was filled with quiet wonder. The glowing sphere above. The Guardian seat cast warm light across the room. Each representative stood around it. Human, Valeri, Thalaxi, Vuron, and more. The vault had accepted them all. It had waited thousands of years for this moment. Learvala stepped closer to the center, placing her hand on the ancient control panel. The glowing symbols responded. They shifted, rearranged, and then formed words in each language spoken by those present. Peace begins when many voices choose to speak together. The others stepped forward as well, placing their hands beside hers. Ethan looked around. It's not just a council seat, it's a promise from the past to the future. Suddenly, the sphere projected a new vision into the air. They saw galaxies, planets, ancient places, and then a path forward, a message of peace, shared, learning, and unity. It wasn't a command. It was an offer, a blueprint for the galaxy. It didn't show weapons or control. It showed schools, embassies, trade routes, and shared knowledge. It was the opposite of war. It was a map to something better. Commander Risa stepped back and whispered, "This changes everything." Then the alarms began to ring again. A dark ship entered the moon's atmosphere. It was one of the largest, and it had activated a beam, meant to disrupt the vault's signal. They want to silence us, Learvala said, to stop this message before it spreads. Ethan looked at the sphere. Can the vault protect itself? No, she replied. But we can. She opened a communication line to orbit. This is Guardian Lirvala. The vault is opening to the galaxy. The unknown fleet is preparing to strike. We ask all peaceful ships to shield the moon. There was a pause. Then came the answers. Human fleet forming protective ring. Valari shield carriers in position. Thalaxi forces ready to assist. One by one, ships moved between the vault and the attackers. They did not fire. They did not threaten. They simply stood as a wall of peace. The Dark Fleet sent another message. Step aside. This knowledge belongs to the strong. Lirvala replied calmly. It belongs to the united. As tension grew, the vault made its final move. The glowing sphere sent out a wave, a pulse of light and data, traveling faster than anything known. It spread across the galaxy, reaching planets, stations, ships, and with it, a message. The Vault of Origins has opened. Let all who seek unity come. Let those who fear peace remain in the dark. Back in the chamber, the Guardians watched in silence. Ethan turned to Lirvala. So, what happens now? She smiled slightly. Now, the galaxy changes. The sphere shifted again, showing the number of responses growing. Messages began arriving from distant worlds. Some curious, some amazed, some thankful. In orbit, something unexpected happened. One of the dark ships powered down its weapons. Then another. A few began to leave. Ethan raised an eyebrow. Are they giving up? Lirvala shook her head. Not giving up. Listening. Not every enemy wanted to fight. Some had only known power, but now they had seen something else. Something better. By the end of the day, the vault had become more than an ancient ruin. It was now a living center of knowledge and diplomacy. Representatives from every system began sending requests to visit, to learn, to speak. The vault had no leader, only guardians, those who stood for peace. Lirvala and Ethan stood side by side watching the change unfold. You know, Ethan said, when I first met you, you said you'd never trust a human. She looked at him, her expression soft. I didn't, but then you proved me wrong, he laughed. And now look at us. Yes, she said. Now we guard the future, together. A soft light glowed on Lirvala's wrist scanner. She looked down. At it with surprise, Ethan noticed. What is it? She turned the screen so he could see. A soft pulse, a medical scan. It's a confirmation, she said quietly. I am with child. Ethan blinked, unsure what to say. You mean? She nodded. Yes. He smiled slowly. Guess the vault was right. The future really is inside us. Lirvala placed a hand on her stomach. A child born of two worlds. Perhaps the galaxy needed more than just unity. It needed hope. The chamber around them glowed once more. The Guardians stood tall. The signal continued to spread. Above, the moon, the stars were brighter than ever. And in the heart of an ancient vault, peace had found its voice.